All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Freedom and Wealth Seekers podcast. We're on episode 33, ladies and gentlemen, episode 33, and our community is growing. Someone touched base with me last week, and they said that they're a seeker. So I love the ring of that. Freedom and Wealth Seekers, that's a lot to say in one line. So shout out to all of the seekers that are joining in. Also, I want to thank everybody that has been sharing the YouTube. Our YouTube channel is growing, REI Inner Circle. You have been sharing our recent success story of a fellow seeker. I appreciate everybody creating word of mouth marketing. That's one of the best forms of marketing in any business. So I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and read the disclaimer. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, understand that my content is intended and must be used for informational and sometimes entertainment purposes only. It is very important that you do your own diligence before implementing any of the methods mentioned and using any of the tools shared. The results shared on my platforms are not typical. Any investments that you make are based on your own personal financial circumstances, and I recommend that you consult with a licensed professional and verify anything that I say or anything that's said on this platform. So folks, y'all are tapped in. I love it. You know, we're averaging about 20 to 25 people on these live Zooms out of 370 people invited. And then we're averaging about 50 viewers of the replay. All right. So everybody, and I know who's watching because you all send me the text and you let me know that you're at your second job or you're at you had another obligation. And I appreciate the transparency. Right now, I'm actually on vacation, but I'm dedicated to your success, getting you this information. So I'm down in beautiful Sarasota, Florida, and I'm going to be shooting some content down here and sending it out throughout my travels. But definitely, I'm not missing unless I'm down and out, unless I'm like ill and I can't get on Zoom. Even if I can't show my face, I'm going to just keep the image up. I'm going to talk. But as long as I can talk, we are going to continue the Freedom and Wealth Seekers podcast each and every Wednesday night live at 8:00. I want to shout out all of the Freedom and Wealth Seeker Academy members, and also my one-on-one students. I want to shout all of those people out. And folks, we're here to learn how to make money tonight. This is something that I started a couple of weeks ago where I sent out some steps. And throughout these steps, some of you have been taking massive action, some haven't, and that's okay. There's a saying in my industry, when people pay, they pay attention. So that's one of the reasons why I charge what I charge for my information, because a lot of people take it for granted. But I want you to understand that the principles behind the steps are all the same. At the end of the day, whether you pay for coaching or you join this podcast, the information that I share truly is all the same. The difference is the hand holding. With my students, they can call me directly. I can walk them through step by step how to put a deal under contract, how to deal with buyers, how to market their deals, how to deal with title companies. But the basics of putting deals together is the same, okay? In using my business model for years has been targeting distressed properties. So if you're taking notes, this is the time you want to start taking notes. Targeting distressed properties. Distressed properties are owned by people who are motivated to sell. Okay. For whatever reason, they could be in a distressed situation. All right. Distressed properties, they fall under several different categories. Houses that need repair, fire damage properties, houses that are behind on their property taxes. Okay. Any type of distressed situation, a vacant house, someone recently passed away. Okay. Those are some of the characteristics of a distressed property. And those are some of the best deals. Some of the best deals in this business. That's how over the last 30 days, you all have been able to see, I've been sharing proof through social proof, case studies over $300,000 in profits in just the last 30 days. All right. You saw Jennifer Jordan's story. She recently sold a $600,000 house in her marketplace in Washington, D.C. as is, and brought in over a $40,000 profit. Okay, no money down. She didn't use any of her own capital to close that deal. We're going to be rolling out a full case study. We've documented her journey for 90 days. I challenged her for 90 days to take action using these same basic concepts that we talk about on this podcast. All right. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, tonight's episode, I'm not going to go into any news stories. Okay. I'm not going to do Direct Mail Wednesday tonight. This is a special podcast. I'm on vacation and I feel really generous. And one of the main reasons why is the participation in the text thread of the folks that have been driving around their market, taking down properties. All right. So I want to coach some of you through, because some of the texts that I am getting are properties that are on the market right now. And as a real estate investor, I do not go after properties on the market unless we're in a downturn. Okay. Right now, the real estate market is still healthy across the country. People are still making multiple offers on properties. And when I say people, investors that are listed on the MLS. So I tend to invest in markets like this where people aren't paying attention. All right. And that's the distress off market deals. Okay. So I want you all, the folks that are taking action, but you're not taking the right action, I want you to stop taking pictures of properties that are listed with real estate agents, that are listed with auction brokers. Okay. I want you to take down the properties where there are no signs. It's no for sale sign. Okay. Those are the properties that I want you to look for, the distressed, the ugliest houses in the neighborhood. If you live in a neighborhood where there aren't any ugly houses, I need you to drive to another neighborhood and find some ugly houses. All right. Take them down. Now, some of you have sent me 1, 2, 3 properties. Excellent. All right. I don't want it to stop there. Now, you don't have to bombard the text, sending me text of every vacant property and address that you see. I know you're already taking action, but I just want to get you in the routine, daily routine. That's what we're doing right now. We're creating a daily routine for you to continue to prospect distressed properties in your market or any market that you're driving through. Like I'm down here in Florida and I'm driving around and my eye is trained to look for distressed properties. All right. I'm using my app down here. I have HomeSnap running. I'm using my Deal Machine app, and I'm looking properties up. It's just a part of my daily routine. Like I've been doing this for almost 20 years. So this has been a part of my daily routine for a long time. And I want you all to develop that same daily routine throughout your travels, you've trained your eye to locate distressed properties. Now, that's step one. Training yourself to locate distressed properties each and every time you get in a car. Okay. I call this cruising for profits. And we'll go into that another day in greater detail. But I want you all to have this type of mindset, right? Some of you may Uber, some of you may Lyft, right? Some of you may deliver food and groceries. You're making money with your car, okay? Most people are not in a position right now to make money with their car. Like your automobile gets you from point A to point B, but while you're in that car, you're spending money, gas, maintenance, right? So that time that you're actually spending money, you don't realize you are, but now you probably are realizing it. Okay. You could be using that time to control assets, the properties in your market, on your way to work. There's so many opportunities out here, from commercial, land, residential, but you have to know how to identify those opportunities. Okay. So checking in each and every Wednesday to this podcast is going to be essential to your knowledge base in locating those types of opportunities. So once you've created this daily routine, there's another step. And that's why I've been dripping out the steps. Step one, drive around, take down these distressed properties. Step two is to now look up the distressed property owners. Okay. Looking up the distressed property owners. And we're going to go into some detail tonight because some of you have been sharing what you have discovered in regards to some of these distressed properties. I want to talk a little bit about that. So the best place to look, I've been using this site almost 6 years now, is uspropertysearch.com. You can go into your web browser, you can type in uspropertysearch.com. That's where I want you to go to look up the distressed property owners. Some of you are going to find LLCs, which is okay. Hold on 1 second. I'm actually pulling up the site right now. uspropertysearch.com. All right. Some of you are going to find LLCs. Some of you are going to find trust. Very rarely are you going to find trust, but you will see trust in the, we got a lot of people. So when I mention free coaching and mentoring, people jump on the Zoom. I love it. Maybe those are some words I got to continue to put in. So uspropertysearch.com, that is powered by PropStream. Okay, some of you may be familiar with PropStream. uspropertysearch.com is the Freedom and Wealth Seekers partnership link. And I just put that link in the chat. I think I sent it to one person. I am going to send it to everybody right now if Zoom allows me. So uspropertysearch.com, that's where we go to find out who owns these vacant houses. Okay, we find out information in regards to their mailing address. We find out information in regards to, is anything owed on the property? It also will let us know if the property is in some form of foreclosure. Is it in tax sale foreclosure? Is it in foreclosure with the lender, the bank who loaned the money on the property? So we can find out all that information at uspropertysearch.com. So I'll put the link in the chat. Make sure you copy and paste that link and save it in your bookmarks. So I have bookmarks on my desktop and on my laptop and on my Google web browser. So I have a section for all real estate tools. I got websites, literally. Some of these websites date back early 2000s, okay, that I still use today in my real estate investing business. All right. So make sure you create a bookmark section just for real estate tools, just for real estate tools. All right. Now, what I've been receiving via text from some of you is that some of the property owners are deceased. And I forget the gentleman, the last person that sent me this text. I'm gonna try to bring it up. I actually gave you a website. I believe it was Tony. Maybe I'm right. Hopefully I'm right. Tony, you sent me a property where the property owners are deceased, and I believe I gave you instruction to Google the register of wills in your market. So folks, you're probably wondering, like, how am I finding out, or how did Tony find out that the property owner was deceased? If you have been following my text, I shared a website with you all called fastpeoplesearch.com. I'm going to put that in the chat. You're going to have to copy and paste this. Again, put this in your real estate tools. Put this in your real estate tools bookmarks. Fast People is not a hyperlink. So you can't just click it. I need you all to take some form of action tonight, right? So copy and paste that link I just put in the chat right into your web browser, in another browser, and bookmark it. Fastpeoplesearch.com. So once you go to US property search, you put the address in. You see who the owners are of the property. You then take their names and you put their names in fastpeoplesearch.com. Now here's a jewel, here's a nugget for you. Let's say the name is Mary Smith. Really, it's a real common name. There may be 50 Mary Smiths in my market in Maryland, right? So instead of taking the name, because it's a common name, I am going to take the mailing address. Okay. I just got a message saying my internet is unstable. So hopefully y'all got that. I am going to take the mailing address. Now, the cool thing about US property search, right, powered by PropStream, is that you can click the mailing address inside the database. Okay. And I'll do a video and show you all how I use US property search, right? I can click the mailing address and it will show me who the owner is. So 9 times out of 10, the owner is Mary Smith, right? So now I take that address for the common name and I put it in Fast People Search. And Fast People Search will tell me the age of the property owner, and it will tell me if the property owner is deceased. I'll give y'all some real-time case study content right now. Recently, I'm working a local government foreclosure list. I find a great opportunity on this list. This is a house near Morgan State University, where I actually went to school, attended school, and Morgan State is expanding their campus. They just revitalized Northwood Shopping Center. It's a shopping center not far from the campus, literally right across the street. I found a property that was $19,000 owed in back taxes on the property. Okay, property isn't vacant though, right? So it's not my ideal local government foreclosure purchase. I like to purchase local government foreclosures that are vacant for various reasons. However, this house was on free and clear. After going to US property search, I noticed it was on free and clear. Now, here's another nugget. The name, you could tell a lot just by somebody's name, right? So the name was an older name, right? So the name was Inez. Inez, that was the first name. I've come across names like Gertrude, right? Mary Beth. Those are names from back in the day. Like, people people in my era don't really use those names, right? So I know off the bat that those people are older. So there was a strong chance that this person may have been deceased, right? So I take Inez's name and I put her name in Fast People Search, and Inez has been deceased since 2014. Now she's still on the title. Okay. She's still on the title. So what are my next steps? And a lot of you have been running into that roadblock, finding properties that are owned by someone deceased, and you're trying to figure out next steps. So going back to what I said earlier tonight is you want to find the register of wills for your state. Every state in the United States has a register of wills, and they all should be online right now. Okay, so in my state, I'll Google Register of Wills, Maryland, and then I'll locate the city where the property is located, and then they have a search engine, and I can type in that person's name. So I type in the person's name, and what it will do, it will pull up in the state. So when someone dies, depending on how their affairs have been put in order, they may have to open up an estate. Okay, they may have to pay out, like people open up estates to settle debts, to distribute assets, things of that nature. Estates can hold anything from real estate, stocks, bank accounts, anything that's an asset, anything of any value, paintings, antiques, collectibles, that can all be put in an estate, right? Don't get me talking too much because I'm not a tax attorney or financial advisor. And I recommend y'all do your own research on what an estate is. All I know, for the last 15 plus years, I've been buying properties from people in estates, right? So when I locate Inez's estate, I discover there is a relative by the name Joanne, okay, who is the personal representative. A personal representative or administrator has the fiduciary responsibility of the estate. So they control all the assets in the estate, and they are responsible for distributing any assets to people that who Inez named as beneficiaries. So if there's any money in the bank and Inez said, I wanted to leave 10,000 to Susie, Joanne will be responsible for sending $10,000 to Susie. Okay. And she gets paid a fee for this duty, this fiduciary duty, right? So I like doing things that I know the next investor isn't willing to do. And I've been very successful over the years doing this. And what I ended up doing was I called the personal representative and I left a message, right? And I explained to them why I called. I called and said, my name is Marcel Humphrey. I'm a residential redeveloper. I happen to come across a property owned by the late Inez and her last name. I noticed that the property was on the tax sale list. That's what we call local government foreclosures here, Freedom and Wealth Seekers. And it's in the range of $20,000 owed to the city of Baltimore. Left a message. The same day, I actually had a young mentee with me, my 4-year-old son, and I said, we're going to go and door knock. Okay. And he was scared. He said, door knock? What are you talking about, Dad? I said, we're going to door knock somebody's house. And they own a property that I want to buy. We're going to knock on the door and see if they want to sell it. Right. So I pull up to the property. He's a little afraid. He never did this, but I'm exposing him early. Like he talks about real estate. He talks about Bitcoin. So I expose my kids early, right? And I want you to do the same thing for your children. Expose them, right? So we get to this neighborhood. It's like a middle class neighborhood, and there are two Mercedes Benz parked in front of the house. There's three actually, and there was a lady in one of the Benzes, and I stopped and I rolled the window down, and I said, "Do you know Miss Joanne?" And she said, "Yeah, she lives right here," but she was like on the phone, so she gave me the wrong house. So we went and we knocked on the door. Now it's an art to door knocking. Okay. When I door knock on somebody's house, I never stand on their porch. Okay. Or their stoop. So I rang the bell. A lady, it was like one of those ring bells. So she saw me on camera, but she saw my 4-year-old. And many, many years ago, when I was going to real estate trainings and my mentor, and I had different mentors, they told me that one of the secrets to door knocking, so I'm giving y'all another nugget. One of the secrets to door knocking is taking maybe a puppy or a small child with you. It totally disarms the situation, because you got to think like, and people are doing that in my house trying to buy some of my properties, right? And I'll never come to the door if I don't know you. Uh, and if I'm on camera, I'm like, who's this? Like, case in point, last week I door knocked on a guy's house, and he said I had the wrong house, but I didn't have my 4-year-old kid with me, right? So the making sure that we're staying on the same page here, folks. I don't want to confuse you. So the lady in the Benz tells me to go knock on this door, and we knock on the door, and the lady comes out and she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, baby, y'all have the wrong house." She lives across the street, and I'm like, across the street, the house with the pit bull at the front door, it was a pit bull in the front door. She said, "Don't worry about that dog. He's a nice dog. Y'all can go over there." So we walk across the street. I'm being very reserved and guarded because it is a pit bull at the front door. We get there, I ring the bell. I could tell that the screen door was locked, so I knew there was a barrier, but the dog didn't get excited or anything. She was right, you know. So somebody comes to the door, and I say, my name is Marcel. I'm a residential. I say the same exact thing I said on the voicemail. I'm a residential redeveloper. I'm looking to buy a property over near Morgan State. I'm trying to find Miss Joanne. The lady that answered the door was Joanne's daughter. Okay. She had a Morgan State t-shirt on. Okay. The whole time I'm door knocking, remember my 4-year-old was right by my side, holding my hand. As soon as she opened the door, I said, "You went to Morgan?" I said, "I went to Morgan." And then we had some small chat about Morgan. We weren't even talking about the house. Long story short, she comes out, she's comfortable enough. She comes out on the porch and she tells me about the property. She tells me that her nephew has been living in the property for many years. And she also tells me that she didn't know that the property had almost $20,000 in back taxes. And she wasn't in a position to, sell me the property. I could tell she wasn't a motivated seller. Miss Joanne, she drove home the point that her nephew lives there. Okay. So long story short, I didn't buy that house. However, there's a name with the face. I did let her know I left a message, and they probably knew. I said, well, if anything changes, let me know. And I went on about my business. But over the years, I've purchased properties like that. Door knocking, right? So some of you have asked, like, what's the next step once I find somebody? Well, the next step is finding out if they want to sell. That is the next step. You have to find out if the person wants to sell the property. That's very important. That's like the whole thing to doing this. Okay, we're not buying properties online. I'm not buying properties like online through a brokerage. Okay, I'm not buying properties through another real estate wholesaler. I'm going direct to owner. Okay, our students are going direct to owner. All right. So folks, like I said, these live sessions, I want to answer some questions tonight. can you put in the chat any questions that you may have right now? Okay, can you give that direction again? We did not hear any of that. What didn't you hear? I kind of walked through the door knock. So I talked about, Jennifer, can you elaborate on that question? I'm actually going to unmute you.
That was a long time ago, Marcel. I don't even remember what you were talking about, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So Adele, you're asking about vacant to value. I don't buy via auction. So I don't teach my students how to buy via auction, because at auctions you tend to overpay in markets like this. So right now in a market like this, where we're still in a housing boom, it's not a good time to buy at auction because you're going to overpay. I shared an article. I don't know, Adele, if you've been watching this podcast long, but there was an article front page of the business section of a New York investor that comes and purchases properties at the vacant to value auction. Properties that really should be selling for $5,000, they're paying $30,000 to $40,000. So the auctions are all overpriced right now. It's not a good environment to buy at auctions right now. I've never heard of that skip trace company. So Fast People Search is a free skip trace company. Fast People Search is a free skip trace company. Yes, buying lots. If you're buying lots, same strategy, same exact strategy. And somebody actually sent a text last week saying, I'm having trouble. They sent me pictures. They said, I'm having trouble finding an address. I'm having trouble finding an address. So when you're having trouble finding an address, there's a couple of things you can do. Okay. One is look for the next nearest address. Now, every market is different. Like in my market, you may have 112 Main Street, and then the house next door may be 114, or the house next door may be 110. So you're going to have to count. But if you go to like in Washington, D.C., you may have 112 Main Street, and then in the house next door is like 118, like right next door. So the way that I get over that hurdle is I'll take down a note. I'll say vacant property in the 100 block of Main Street. Okay. When I get back to my office, or if I pull up my app, the apps that I use, so you can go, like, there's an app I use. You can go to marcelsdirectmail.com. All right. marcelsdirectmail.com. Or you can download the app on US Property Search to your phone. Or you can use Google Maps. Okay. And I love using Google Maps. And you can put in the 100 block, or you can put in 112 Main Street, and then you can zoom in. You would have to do a satellite zoom. Okay. And it will show you the different lots. It will show you the different houses with the address at the top. Okay. And then you can do a street view to pinpoint which property you came across that you were not able to get the address to. Okay. So, and that goes for lots too. Like it will show you the address of that lot. I've never had any issues. I just did this on 3 lots in Baltimore City off of the local government foreclosure list. I sent these 3 lots to a home builder, and I don't think it's on this phone. I wanted to, my vision was to build some homes here on these lots, but he said it didn't make sense. The cost to build on those 3 lots versus what you could sell the properties for, it just didn't make sense to build townhomes there. Okay, I'm looking at the chat and I'm looking at the text message. The text message thread as well. Somebody said I was fading in and out. So I hope you all were able to hear me. Hopefully this recording. Tony, okay, Tony's in. What happens when we get to the point of getting a contract into the process? Well, that is a great question, Tony. And what I'm willing to do, if you find a deal, okay, this challenge that I'm doing right now, okay, I don't know when I'm going to end it, right? But it is leading up to something. Remember the academy, I'm going to be opening up enrollment very soon for the academy. But until then, Tony, if you find a property that makes sense, okay, if it makes sense, I will extend the opportunity to partner with me on the deal. But the numbers have to make sense. So before getting a property under contract, you got to get a motivated seller on the hook. And then you have to negotiate a price. Okay. You have to negotiate a price. And on the next episode, but hopefully before then, but on the next episode, I am going to break down step by step how I make offers on distressed properties, whether I'm wholesaling it, whether I'm rehabbing it, whether I'm renting it out. Okay. I'm going to take you step by step through my process, how I gather the comparable sales, how I evaluate repairs. Okay. So this is going to go into you making your first offer. And that's going to happen next Wednesday. But if you get a seller on the hook, before next Wednesday, just like I've been doing all week, I'm going to be answering your questions in the text. So folks, take advantage of these steps because I'm really coaching people. Through the leads that they're working, helping them turn those leads into deals. But Tony, that was a great question. It's a place that used to be a parking lot, now demolished, but the same space before the parking lot was buildings. I believe they would have had to have to be rezoned. I cannot find it, or the owner, I believe it's the state. Okay, if it's a state building, I've never purchased properties from like a county or state. But again, Adele, if you use US Property Search, they have the real estate records for every municipality, every city, every county across the United States. If you know what street it's on, they also have a satellite search. You can use their satellite search and you can look at that street to figure out what the property address is. What are the best lots to purchase? What will you do with the lots? So recently I partnered with a home builder, and his buying criteria are only lots where you can build single family residence. Only lots where you can build single family residence. And that's in my market. Some people buy lots and they build multifamily. Okay. Somebody asked, TS asked, what the latest formula for finding the maximum allowable offer? Okay, so I have my own science to the Mayo. I used to use the Mayo, but not anymore. In regards to my wholesale deals, and I see a lot of people trying to use the Mayo to do wholesale deals, and some are having success, but it's not a sustainable formula because when the market changes, you're going to have less speculators out here. So I guarantee, uh, if I ask the question tonight, what is the percentage of that folks are using or being taught, and this is across the board for the last 5 to 10 years since the real estate market has been on an uptick, people have been using 70% of the ARV. And that's a very high percentage. And anybody that's seasoned, that's been in the game long, or just understands real estate knows when you buy a property at 70% of the ARV, unless that property needs minimal repairs, that is a very risky deal. Okay. So if you are using a Mayo, you need to be at like 40 to 60% of the ARV. Okay. So folks, I'm going to let y'all go. All right. I just landed. I literally just landed down here to Florida. I said I had to jump on this. I had to jump on this Zoom for podcast number 33. It's been a blast. I try to pack this up with as many nuggets and jewels in the last 43 minutes that I could. Hopefully you all got some nuggets from this. And Wednesday, we're going to talk about how I structure my offers on Wednesday next week. All right, I'll see you there. But more importantly, I look forward to guiding you and meeting you at the closing table soon. Thanks, Tony. Take care, folks. Have a blessed one. See you soon.